What is going on, everybody? Byrdman here with my honest review of the Outriders Worldslayer expansion. I was given early access to this piece of content by Square Enix. A big shout out to them for doing this. I'm not paid to do this, anything like that. This is going to be just my complete, unfiltered opinion of this expansion. We're going to be going over different points of it, such as the story, the weapons, the new pack trees, and the endgame, and then just my overall summary of all this content together. Now, do you know you can follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Byrdman778. I'm going to be streaming most days starting at noon Eastern Standard Time, so just swing on by, let's vibe out, have a good time. Make sure you're staying up to date on my Twitter to know whenever, schedule might change or something like that. But we'll be having a whole lot of Devastator videos coming up here soon, covering different builds, what exactly you need to focus into mod-wise, and then maybe even some pyro stuff in the future. We'll see. But regardless, let's talk about Outriders Worldslayer and whether or not this is worth your time or not. So let's first go over the story. If you're familiar with the Outriders lore and all that stuff, by the end of the first game, we kind of ended it off in like a nice note. We were able to like hang out in our camp and just do expeditions, find the drop pods, and now we have landed at a point where there is this giant glacial storm coming across Enoch and kind of just like absolutely nuking everybody, whether it's animals, the creature of Enoch, or people as well, while also facing a new altered threat in this like large army of people. Now, I'm not going to give any like true story spoilers, but overall I would say like it was like a 6 out of 10 story in general. I wasn't exactly impressed with the original story of Outriders. I was more just ready to jump into the end game because that is what really captivated me, especially with the building and everything of these characters. So again, story didn't really bother me all that much, and I kind of have the same opinion of this one. I just kind of burned through it as fast as I can just so I was able to start doing the trials and the bigger end game pieces of building my character up again. Now, I will say it left off on a cliffhanger that kind of makes you think that maybe there might be more expansions or maybe an Outriders 2, which I'm really hoping for. But in general, I just really didn't care for the story. Pros, it was kind of interesting to see like other altered people and stuff again. Cons, not really captivating. I really just don't care much about a lot of the characters. I'm just pretty interested in just jumping straight into the end game as fast as humanly possible. So story not bad, but at the same time, end game is better. Now, let's start talking about the loot that we're going to be getting in Outriders Worldslayer. This is definitely one of the shining points of this entire expansion, for the fact that we added in not only a bunch of awesome new mods, but we also added in Apocalypse Gear. Apocalypse Gear is going to give you a third mod slot on any of your either purple or gold pieces of gear. Now, this is at random. You can't build it up. You can't like level it up and get it like that. It has to be dropped in the main world. But at the same time, these pieces of gear are absolutely stunning. I mean, you can get purples with new tier 3 mods as the third perk. It's absolutely awesome. And it's also a great way of kind of farming up those mods that you haven't really gotten yet. I would definitely say if you're starting this off, pick up every single piece of purple Apocalypse Gear and just break it down if it's just a bad roll, because you're more likely going to be getting a new mod that you didn't have before. I just think that's a really awesome thing that they added in, and it's even better for the legendary sets, especially for like, let's say you get the new Bannerlord set that's focused into Impale. If you get one of those like Palisade or one of those Impale skills as the third perk, you're just juicing it up even more for free. So we really like to see that. My biggest complaint about the gear though in Outriders Worldslayer is the fact that we still cannot re-roll the random passives at the end of the on the guns themselves. So or the pieces of armor. So like, let's say Seismic Commander set. Let's say for some reason I wanted to make it into a firepower build. I can't get a firepower roll on it. It's always going to be only anomaly. I do wish that we were able to swap this up still. I think it would add to the diversity of the game, the building, and you'd probably retain people much longer just for that, even if it is, just redoing expeditions and stuff like that. At least giving them the option to try something else would be really key in my mind. But at the same time, I think that this is, again, one of the shiny points. I really like a lot of the new mods. There's a mod I'm currently using on this death shield that you're seeing that we're going to be covering the next couple days. Essentially just the new Moaning Winds. I mean, it's absolutely stupid, and it's obviously going to do more damage the higher and higher you get into these Apocalypse tiers. But overall, again, gear is one of the shiny spots of this entire expansion. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, it's like an 8.5 to 9. It's just super great, and this is one of the best parts of the entire expansion. Next, let's kind of go over our different trees that are going to be available now in Worldslayer. Obviously, the main tree is going to stay exactly the same. We're not getting any more class points or anything like that, which is a big pro for me, just for the fact that I feel as though adding just more points to this in general would just kind of lead to, just uneven builds. It just wouldn't be as comprehensive as adding something like these PAX trees. Now, the PAX trees I really do enjoy for the fact that they add a little bit to each setup, and all these different final nodes kind of add to a different setup. It's really interesting all around how they are built. You only get 5 points total, which I think is absolutely perfect. Again, I want my Outrider to feel super strong, godlike, all that stuff, but overpowering it to the point that every expedition, every run of the trials just feels like a cakewalk is not fun. So a big shout out to them for doing that. And then adding as well these ascension tiers, so you're able to essentially go into different points, get like extra little boosts onto top of different things across your board here. I really enjoy this as well, just for the fact that, again, it's given just like a little boost here and there. It's like no more than like 10% on each thing, so you're never really going to be like, too overpowered with like cooldown reduction or anomaly damage or anything like that. The only thing that I would have wanted them to do is maybe add like another like cross section off of the main tree, give us something else to kind of feel different about. But I really do think the PAX trees themselves are very well put together. Now it's time to talk about Endgame. This is going to be one of the lower spots on the list, just purely out the fact of essentially the Endgame that was added in is the Trials Ataria guitar. I probably said that completely wrong, but yell at me in the comments down below. But this new piece of endgame content is pretty interesting all around. It's kind of like a large expedition that you're able to control the flow of it. You can go into just main rooms where you fight entire room of people. You get like a small little chest at the end that has a bunch of purples in it, which I would still say is a benefit. You're moving through the story trying to, again, get those different mods and stuff from the purple pieces of Apocalypse gear. And then you have these focused rooms where they would only drop maybe boots, or they're going to drop gloves throughout the entire thing. You're also going to be able to get legendaries from them. It's kind of an interesting way to farm while also progressing through endgame content. There's going to be 3 different bosses you fight in this. I'm not going to reveal exactly what those bosses are. You can look at the trailers and stuff and see for yourself. But know at least these are pretty interesting, while at the same time kind of falls flat. The reason why it falls flat is because everything that you have in the trials is static. In the very front of the trials, you're going to be able to farm boots and gloves. Now, this is always going to be boots and gloves. It's never going to change. And even those chests themselves aren't exactly prominent with the pieces of gear that you're looking for. At the end of this one that you're going to see here, I really just mainly get a bunch of regular purple boots and just weapons, which isn't really exactly useful if I'm trying to farm for a specific piece of legendary boots. It's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, I like the effort that it is. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but at the same time, it's just not endgame enough, to be honest with you, especially for the fact that this is one of the big pushing points for this entire expansion. I mean, this is part of the sell, is this air quotes endgame content, which kind of feels like it falls flat at times. Now, we also don't have any more expeditions that were added into it. I do think, though, the expeditions that were slated for Worldslayer were used in the New Horizon update. I don't have any proof of that. That's just kind of my own speculation, conspiracy theories and stuff like that. But it makes perfect sense, genuinely. I do like the fact that they added in those expeditions in the New Horizon update, but I do think that we really did need a little bit more in this to kind of sell it to players, because again, just saying, all right, new weapons, new trees, a story that you're probably going to forget about in like 20 minutes, and then this trials that you can farm it, but the best way to farm it is to farm the final boss, which is, takes you about 30 minutes to get to if you're a fresh player trying to get into it, is kind of hard to really promote to people. Now, I do like the content. It's pretty much the only thing I'm doing right now, just because I like grinding to the bosses and being able to get that chance of Apocalypse gear and stuff like that. It's just the best overall farm right now. It's just not a perfect piece of content. If I had to give this a rating out of 10, I'd probably give like a 6 out of 10, honestly. I think it's, again, a step in the right direction and could be really improved with maybe a patch that again, change those farmable areas into randomized. So maybe for one day I go to the first one and it's a helmet instead of boots, or maybe even weapons. I would love to have a weapon farm in this, just because, again, the fact that players just need options. Giving players options and having that tiered endgame system is definitely vital. I do think that they started working towards that, making this kind of that, raid level piece of content, but it's just at the same time not really going to be worth your time if you are a casual player, just because of the fact that you might as well go run expeditions, grind as much as you can, maybe get the one in a 1,000 apocalypse piece of gear from there, versus burning a bunch of time into this. Again, step in the right direction, but just didn't really land on its feet as well. I do, again, hope that they go towards a live service model and continue to produce better endgame content, because Outriders is an amazing game. It has like some of the most potential out of many games we've seen in the last 10 years, but it keeps just kind of like stumbling forward. I mean, it's going forward, but it's stumbling forward, which doesn't exactly give a whole lot of hope for maybe the future of this game. So let's kind of summarize everything we got here. First off, the story. Didn't really care for it all that much, but at the same time, it wasn't something that was just like super horrendous that offended us in any way, shape, or form. The new weapons and mods are absolutely amazing. We love Apocalypse gear and the diversity that it helps give to the entire series. Hacks trees are super awesome for the fact that it helps diversify builds while also not overpowering too much, and helps us get rid of some mods that we just really could use elsewhere on our pieces of gear. And then the endgame trials of Tara Guitar, the fact that it kind of just like stumbled forward, even though it's the step in the right direction, it just didn't really hit exactly like we hoped to, and a lack of new expeditions added in. Overall, if I had to give Outriders Worldslayer a rating out of 10, I give it like a 7, and like I would say like a soft 7 is probably the best way to put it. I personally like it just because of the fact I am an absolute Outriders shill. I love this game. It's just like, it calls to me. It's a looter shooter that's gritty and grindy and super fun and enjoyable to do, but it's just different from anything else than we've really had. Again, like, I'm a huge Destiny fan, so it kind of gives me those Destiny vibes. I love Borderlands, kind of gives me those Borderlands vibes, but at the same time, it's its own different thing. But again, I really hope that they just like continue to maybe work towards a live service model for this series, just purely out the fact that I think it fits that model just so well. I mean, you could just add in new expeditions, you can add in new guns, new mods, all that stuff on the fly, and really hold your players into it. And I think Worldslayer is definitely kind of a push towards that right direction, but at the same time, it's just not there completely. Would I recommend this for $35? I mean, that's $35 US. Probably not if you are a casual fan. If you are someone who like really loves Outriders, absolutely snag it. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna have fun. But I would say for a lot of people, maybe wait till like a Steam sale. But at the same time, I think it's super enjoyable. I think people should give it a chance. I think that if they definitely announced a roadmap for future content, it would definitely help promote this game a little bit more. But unfortunately, right now, it looks like they're kind of sticking to their guns of, this is going to be like a trial by fire. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to do it one step at a time. We're not going to plan any future content outside of like hearing the expectations or hearing the feedback that we got from said content already. So let's just hope that they continue. Let's just hope that this is received well and people enjoy it. I know a lot of content creators were super excited for Worldslayer, so I hope that they enjoy it as well. I would definitely help promote a lot of good friends in the Outriders community, such as Chadley99, Abby Hour, Moxie, Jiffy Nano, a lot of just like good people that I know are going to be streaming and playing this game. Definitely give them a looks, because we're all in this together. It's definitely a super nice and fun community to be a part of, so definitely show some love around. Well, there you have it. That's my review of Outriders Worldslayer. Again, big shout out to Square Enix for giving me an early access copy to this so I could review it, play it. We're going to be having a whole lot of Devastator content coming out here soon. Again, your dev daddy is ready to give you all the rocks and pebbles and stuff. I don't even know what other. I'll give you some sand if you want some sand. I'll give you some sand. I don't even know what the. Yeah. Anyway, just be ready for a lot of Outriders content coming up here soon. There's plenty of mods and different pieces of just like all around anomaly theory that I want to kind of share with everybody as well. So be looking out for those videos. I'm also going to be streaming every single day starting at noon Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/Byrdman778. There's going to be Twitch drops for Outriders as well. So so far it's looking like those are going to be like random weapons and stuff like that. So make sure you're stopping on by a stream. We're going to also be having some runs with viewers every once in a while, but I'm going to be mainly focusing on, again, the build crafting and the build theory for the most part at the start of Worldslayer. I definitely just want to get the best sets and the best possible, clears for everyone as much as I humanly can. Show off what mods you need to be going for, all that fun stuff. So make sure you're stopping on by Twitch for that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate you stopping by this video. Follow me on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Byrdman778. We're going to be having some cool partnership opportunities coming up here soon as well. So make sure you're staying on by. But regardless, guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.